Hi, my name is Mario Mitchell, and I am introducing to you Faces of Local. The concept behind this is to sit down and allow me to interview some of the most dynamic people in our industry. Dig deep with them, share their stories, and most importantly, share their stories with you.
I'm a talker, man. I can get way off. Squirrel.
Preston, what originally inspired you to step into the home inspection world? Was it passion, opportunity, or something unexpected?
My grandfather was a carpenter, and my dad was a part-time carpenter. But I grew up poor, and I was just looking. I did all the things right. I mowed grass. I sold cinnamon toothpicks on the bus. I sold Jolly Ranchers. I mean, because I grew up in Kernersville, North Carolina, and I grew up in a trailer park. And the crazy thing, the bus that picked us up in the poorest part of Kernersville was the same bus that went to the richest part of Kernersville. So the trailer park kids and the rich kids were on the same bus. So it became pretty obvious who was who. Pretty early on, I realized I make my own money. I can change I can change everything. So in the beginning, I was just a one-man shop. I did inspections, wrote reports, delivered reports. Back then, we still hand delivered the reports. I'm talking late 90s, early 2000s. And then, when I had time, I went around to real estate offices giving cards and doing all that sort of stuff. I definitely wanted to grow it. As an entrepreneur, it's like you evolve, right? You do the thing. You're the technician in the beginning. Well, you're everything, the head cook, bottle washer, you're the accountant, the thing. But eventually you have to scale anything. And that's like a whole different skill set, right? You're really good at, if you're in real estate, you're really good at selling houses. You're really good at, some negotiation. But at some point, just like you start growing the team. They say a lot of entrepreneurs get into something because they think they can do something better than it's already being done. But then you have to systematically fire yourself from each, and that's tough because you thought you could do it better to begin with, and then eventually get to where you're doing what your skill set's best and hire people who are good at things that you aren't, so to speak. So scaling was a challenge because in the beginning, you're a technician, right? And my craft was inspecting houses. Some people's craft may be selling houses or fixing HVAC or whatever. And, you want to get really good at that craft. And, it's tough because your mindset's like, nobody can do it better than me. That's part of but, eventually your mindset is, somebody can do 90% as good as you and you could get 10%. If you get 100% of your time back, now you can work on some other parts of the business and scaling it out, getting more inspectors. You got to have admin. Basically all service businesses have three parts. The doing the thing, whether it's fixing air conditioners or doing the inspections or whatever. There's a marketing component and there's an admin component, scheduling things, billing, taxes, invoices. And eventually, you need to fire yourself from all three of those and kind of be the face of it and just make sure everything's working, and hire people who are good at all three of those. But scaling it is tough because you have to make a transition from being the real estate agent or the technician to being, more of a business owner and scaling it and hire people who are good at things you're not good at.
Now, was there a moment when you realized, okay, this is starting to take off?
Chip is my manager. When I got Chip, and we went from 7 or 8 inspectors to like 26, and I was like, wow. It really, you can only do so much. There's only so many hours a day, and you're only one person. So once you start learning how to build a team, it just multiplies, what you can do. But it's hard because you're so stuck in, well, nobody can inspect it like me. Nobody can sell a house like me. Where you start now training other people to sell houses, or training other people to be inspectors, or training other people to be marketing, or bringing people in who are already good at marketing, who have fresh ideas.
Now, you're known for personal branding. Powerful personal branding, by the way. When did you realize that you were part of the brand, not just the business?
Yeah, I'm known as Inspector Crazy Pants. You got to stand out no matter what you do. I mean, if you own any kind of business, you got a whole lot of competition, right? You got to, provide a fantastic service like you guys do, but B, you've got to somehow tell people about that fantastic service. There's this old adage that is the worst ever. I think it was Emerson said, build a better mousetrap and the world will be the path to your door. That is hogwash. I mean, it's partially true. You do need to build a better mousetrap, but you got to build a freeway to your door so to get people to know it.
So many inspection companies fade out. What do you think made yours stand out and become highly successul?
Everybody's got to win. All sustainable relationships, everybody's got to win, whether it's personal, business, whatever. There's so many. When a relationship is I win, you lose, that might work for a while, but eventually it's gonna, my inspector's got to win, the people who work for me got to win, the real estate agent's got to win. Obviously, the people buying the house got to win first and foremost. The way Rome spread was when they took over a land, they were over their governance, but they let them self-govern their area. So they still let them win. It wasn't this oppressive thing. And Rome lasted 1,000 years. I mean, so I think just make sure everybody wins in everything you do. Growing up, it wasn't exactly the Leave It to Beaver or, imagine a dysfunctional Brady Bunch and you'd be more like I'm not mad, I'm not a victim or anything like that, but I always knew, like, when I get a shot at this, I just don't want my kids to go through some of the stuff that I went through. But then you got to be careful, though. If you make life too easy for your kids, I definitely think, I want to be successful because of the opportunities that it gives me, but the opportunities to get to do stuff with my family. I mean, like, we travel, we get to spend a lot of time together, and, every day, man, that clock's ticking. You can't get any of that back.
If you could tell your younger version of you, first starting out in the business, in life, what would you have that conversation look like?
Don't sweat the small stuff. And most of it's small stuff. You show me a successful person, if you talk to them long enough or get a few beers in them, they're going to tell you about some times they got punched in the face. I mean, imagine, what's that saying that Mike Tyson always says, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And now you're like, but you got to come back from that, and you can't let it get to you. But that would be my advice to my younger self is, it's going to be a tough road, but you can do it, and just don't, just keep moving, man. Just keep moving forward.